Ever get that feeling, like you're looking up at the night sky and you're just missing something?
Yeah. Like there's more going on.
Exactly. Like there's this whole incredible story being told, but you're only catching little snippets. Yeah, me too.
Happens to everyone, I think.
That's kind of what we're doing today.
Mm.
We're going to take a proper look at some big ideas, the kind that make you tilt your head and go, huh,
The big questions.
right. We're diving into the reflections and insights from brief answers to the big questions.
Okay.
Think of it like getting the cheat sheet to some of the universe's most fascinating puzzles without all the headache of, actually having to do all the homework yourself.
A noble goal.
Okay, so right off the bat, what strikes you when you start thinking about the universe? It's that fundamental urge to know, isn't it?
Absolutely. Where did it all come from? Why are we here?
Where did everything come from? What's our place in it all? People have been asking these questions since, well, forever.
From the earliest myths.
You had all these amazing myths, these creation stories trying to make sense of it all. And now science has stepped up,
Yeah.
offering its own set of explanations.
Which can be just as, if not more, mind-blowing.
And honestly, sometimes the scientific version is way wilder than anything we could have imagined. I mean, black holes swallowing light,
Yeah.
the universe expanding, it's mind-bending stuff.
It really is.
And the author of these reflections, he really believed that the core ideas behind all this aren't some secret code.
Right. Not just for specialists.
He thought if you explain it right, without all the fancy math that makes my eyes glaze over, most people can actually get it.
Which is key, right? Making science accessible.
Which is good news for us, right?
Yeah.
We want those aha moments without needing a PhD in astrophysics.
Exactly. That deeper understanding, but presented clearly. Science offers this.
Yeah.
Well, this evidence-based grasp, even if it feels strange at first.
The author shares some little glimpses into his own journey of asking these big questions.
Oh, yeah.
There's this one quirky thing. He was born on the anniversary of Galileo's death.
Ah, interesting.
And he kind of muses about it, wonders if maybe there was some cosmic baton being passed,
Like a sign.
Yeah, even though he immediately acknowledges the statistical improbability of it meaning anything.
Right, the rational mind kicking in. But still, it's human nature to look for patterns.
It's like that time I found a $20 bill the day after I'd been complaining about being broke. Probably just a coincidence,
Yeah.
but you can't help but wonder, can you?
You can. It speaks to that search for meaning.
And his childhood sounds pretty intense. Growing up in London during the Second World War,
A tough time.
a V-2 rocket landed just a few doors away. Can you imagine?
Wow. No.
But afterwards, this bomb site became their playground. He and his friend would explore the wreckage,
Driven by curiosity, even then.
driven by the same kind of curiosity that fueled his later scientific inquiries. It's like, even amidst destruction, there's this human need to understand, to pick apart the pieces.
It really does seem like those early experiences, that kind of intense reality, fostered a lifelong drive to investigate.
Reminds me of when I took apart my dad's old radio as a kid. I just had to see what was inside,
Right.
even though putting it back together was a whole other story.
Huh. Yes, the reassembly problem.
Apparently at school, they nicknamed him Einstein,
Mm-hmm.
which, you'd think that's a pretty good sign.
I would think. High praise.
But then one of his friends actually bet a bag of sweets that he'd never come to anything.
No way, really?
Yeah. Goes to show you, doesn't it? You can never really predict where someone's going to end up.
Absolutely not. Early impressions versus reality. It highlights that unpredictability.
It's like that time my high school guidance counselor told me I should consider a career in. Well, never mind. The point is, early impressions aren't always the most accurate.
Definitely not.
He also talks about these endless debates with his friends about the universe, about how it all began.
The big questions right from the start.
He even remembers questioning the idea of the redshift, wondering if Maybe light just got tired on its long journey to us.
Well, like tired light theory.
Rather than the universe actually expanding. It's kind of charming, that early questioning, even if he later realized the expanding universe idea held up.
It shows that questioning is vital, though. Even wrong ideas push science forward.
We all have those moments when we have a brilliant idea that in retrospect maybe wasn't so brilliant.
Oh, absolutely. Part of the process.
And here's a classic relatable moment. He admits he loves taking things apart to see how they worked,
The curiosity again.
but putting them back together, not so much. Sound familiar to anyone?
Very familiar. The practical versus the theoretical.
I swear, every time I try to assemble flat-pack furniture, I end up with at least 3 extra pieces and a deep sense of existential dread.
Ah, yes. He apparently felt his practical skills lagged behind.
He says his practical skills never quite matched his theoretical ones. I feel seen.
It's a relatable distinction, for sure.
Now, he describes a pretty significant turning point during his time at Oxford.
Okay.
Apparently, there was this real anti-work vibe, this idea that you were either effortlessly brilliant or just kind of coasting.
Ah, that sort of academic culture.
And he admits he did a lot of coasting. But then came the diagnosis of motor neuron disease,
Right, ALS.
and everything shifted.
Yeah.
Suddenly, facing a limited time, he had this incredible appreciation for life and a real drive to actually make his mark.
Wow, that confrontation with mortality, it can really refocus priorities.
It's a powerful reminder of how perspective can change in an instant. It's like when you think you have all the time in the world to do something and then you realize you don't, suddenly things get a lot clearer.
That renewed sense of purpose, it's quite profound.
And that diagnosis, at just 20 years old, ALS, talks about that initial wave of depression, which is completely understandable.
Of course, devastating news.
But then, that renewed passion for research took over. He had this incredible line, after his expectations had been reduced to 0, every new day became a bonus.
That's, yeah, an incredible perspective. Finding gratitude amidst such difficulty.
That's a really powerful way to frame things, isn't it? To find gratitude in the everyday when faced with such a huge challenge.
It really speaks to a remarkable resilience.
Then came the tracheostomy and the loss of his natural voice.
Another huge challenge.
He points out how much your voice is tied to how people see you. He mentions that with slurred speech, people sometimes make unfair assumptions about your intelligence.
That's a really important point. Communication is so fundamental, and prejudice based on physical differences is, well, it's unfortunately common.
It's a stark reminder of how quickly we can judge others based on superficial things. But the way he continued to communicate is just amazing. From those early days of spelling words with eyebrow movements
Incredible patience required there.
to the development of these incredible computer systems that let him speak using cheek muscles. It's a testament to human ingenuity and the power of technology.
Absolutely. Assistive technology has come so far, and his determination was unwavering.
He even joked about having the internet on his wheelchair, being the most connected person in the world. You've got to admire that spirit, right?
Definitely. Keeping that sense of humor.
And I found this really touching. He kept his original speech synthesizer, even though it had an American accent.
Oh, really? Why was that?
He said partly it was because he hadn't heard one with better phrasing, but also because he'd come to identify with that voice. It had become a part of him.
Ah, I see. It became part of his identity. That makes sense.
It's like that old, slightly annoying ringtone you've had for years.
Yeah.
You know, you should change it, but it just feels right.
Yeah, that connection we form, even with technology sometimes.
Now let's get into some of those really big questions he tackled, especially around black holes.
Okay, the heavy stuff.
He mentions that back in the early 60s, there was this big debate about whether the universe even had a beginning.
Right, the whole beginning question stirred things up, touching on philosophical or even religious territory for some scientists.
Apparently, some scientists were resistant to the idea because they thought it sounded too much like a divine creation.
Mm-hmm. The implication of start time.
But he dove right in, using his ideas about causal structure and applying them to black holes.
Okay.
And he realized that the surface area of a black hole's event horizon, that's the point of no return, where gravity is so strong, nothing can escape.
Exactly, the cosmic point of no return. Not even light gets out.
That area always increases when more stuff falls in. It's like they can get bigger, but never smaller.
That was a huge insight. The law of increasing event horizon area. It hinted at a connection with thermodynamics, actually.
And then he talks about this golden age of black hole theory, where they solved so many fundamental problems even before they had any actual proof that black holes even existed.
Isn't that amazing, the power of theoretical physics? Using math and general relativity to predict these bizarre objects.
Isn't that wild? It's like figuring out all the rules of chess just by thinking about it before you ever see a chessboard.
A pretty good analogy, yeah. The theory was just that robust.
That success then led to trying to bridge the gap between the physics of the very big general relativity and the physics of the very small quantum theory.
The Holy Grail, right? A unified theory.
And this led to the surprising link between gravity and thermodynamics, the science of heat,
Yes, Baconstein and Hawking radiation.
and even a potential resolution to the black hole information paradox, which, in simple terms, is the question of whether information about stuff that falls into a black hole is lost forever.
Right, a huge puzzle. Does physics allow information to be truly destroyed?
The answer seems to be no. It's not entirely lost, but it's also not returned in a way we can easily understand.
Then it's scrambled, yeah.
Kind of like shredding a document. The information is still there in the pieces, but you can't really read it anymore.
That's a decent way to put it. It's not useful information anymore, perhaps. Still a very active area of research.
You know, when it comes to science and religion, particularly the origin of the universe, the author was pretty clear.
Mm-hmm. What was his stance?
His work was about understanding the universe through rational scientific principles, not about trying to prove or disprove God.
Okay, focusing on the scientific method. Empirical evidence, logical reasoning.
For him, it was about finding a scientific explanation for what we observe.
Makes sense. Let the physics guide the way.
And here's where it gets really mind-blowing. He talks about the possibility of the universe spontaneously creating itself from nothing,
Wow, okay. How?
according to the laws of physics. He uses this analogy of an incredibly tiny, incredibly dense black hole where time itself stops.
Like the singularity at the beginning.
Yeah. And his argument is, if time didn't exist before the Big Bang, then there was no before for a creator to exist in.
Whoa. Okay, that bends the brain a bit. No time means no time for creation.
That's the idea. Whoa. That's a lot to wrap your head around. It's like asking what's north of the North Pole. The question itself doesn't really make sense within that framework.
A very challenging perspective, grounded in the physics of space-time itself.
He then delves into the expanding universe. He reminds us that for a long time, everyone thought the universe was static.
The prevailing view for centuries, yeah.
But then there was this weird thing. Why was the night sky dark?
Olber's paradox.
If the universe was infinite and full of stars, shouldn't the whole sky be lit up like the sun?
Exactly. It's a deceptively simple question with huge implications.
It's like if you have an endless forest, no matter where you look, you should see a tree. So why the darkness?
And the answer lies in the universe not being infinite and static in the way people thought. Either it has a finite age, or it's expanding, or both.
Then came Hubble's discovery of other galaxies,
Right.
and the realization of just how vast space is,
Pushing the boundaries way out.
which hinted at a beginning. And the Big Bang Theory eventually became the leading explanation, especially with the discovery of that afterglow.
The cosmic microwave background radiation.
The cosmic microwave background radiation.
Yeah.
It's like finding a baby picture of the entire cosmos.
It's incredible evidence. A snapshot of the universe when it was just, 380,000 years old, really solidifies the Big Bang model over things like the steady state theory.
And he mentions these mathematical proofs, these geometrical theorems that he and Roger Penrose came up with,
The singularity theorem.
showing that the universe must have had a beginning, according to general relativity. I mean, theorems. That sounds pretty definitive.
Within the framework of general relativity, yes, they provided a very strong mathematical argument for a beginning point, a singularity.
Finally, on this topic, he touches on the profound shift in perspective you get from seeing Earth from space.
The overview effect.
This single, fragile blue marble, without any of the lines we draw on maps. It's a powerful reminder of our shared humanity.
It really is. Seeing it as one interconnected system, our only home, it puts things in perspective, doesn't it?
Totally. Moving on, he talks about the challenge of predicting the future.
Always tricky business.
He points out that for a long time, the world probably seemed random, with no real rhyme or reason to events.
Right, governed by whims or gods or just chaos.
But then we gradually started to realize that the world operates according to natural laws, predictable laws to some extent.
The rise of classical physics, Newton, Laplace, the idea of a clockwork universe almost.
But then Heisenberg came along with his uncertainty principle.
Throwing a quantum spanner in the works.
And suddenly the future get a little less predictable. The idea that you can't know both the exact position and speed of a particle at the same time.
Right, there's a fundamental fuzziness built into reality at that level.
It's kind of like trying to catch a fly with chopsticks while blindfolded. It suggests there's a fundamental fuzziness to the universe at its smallest scales.
It really challenged that deterministic view. Quantum mechanics introduced probabilities, inherent uncertainty.
Still, he marvels at the incredible pace of scientific and technological progress we've seen since the 20th century.
It's been exponential, hasn't it?
And he even touches on future possibilities, like brain interfaces for communication.
Which seemed like pure sci-fi not long ago.
Which, he points out, often start as tools for people with disabilities and then find wider uses.
That's a great point. Assistive tech often pioneers broader innovations.
Think about that innovations designed to help those with limitations often end up benefiting everyone. It's like how curb cuts on sidewalks, originally for wheelchairs, are now super helpful for people with strollers or rolling suitcases.
Exactly. It shows how inclusivity can drive progress for all.
He comes back to the importance of asking those big, even seemingly silly questions.
The daft questions, as he might say.
He shares a wonderful memory of his mathematics teacher, D. Crantata, who really sparked his imagination and showed him the beauty of math as a way to understand the universe.
The impact of a great teacher, it's irreplaceable.
It's a great reminder of the impact a good teacher can have, right? Someone who ignites that spark of curiosity.
Definitely. Those figures can change your whole trajectory.
I had a history teacher once who made even the French Revolution sound like a soap opera. That's the kind of engagement that sticks with you.
Absolutely. Making learning come alive.
But he also expresses concern about cuts to science and education funding and the growing distrust of experts.
A worrying trend, for sure. The rise of anti-expert sentiment.
He emphasizes that the future is going to rely on science and technology more than ever, making public understanding absolutely vital.
It's crucial. We need scientifically literate citizens and leaders to navigate the challenges ahead.
It's a bit worrying when you see this anti-intellectual trend, isn't it? It's like saying you don't need to read the instructions for assembling that flat pack furniture, and we all know how that usually ends.
Right. With extra pieces and a wobbly bookshelf. It underscores the need for expertise and valuing knowledge.
Then he gets into space exploration,
Looking outwards.
which he sees as a long-term insurance policy for humanity, despite the enormous challenges of traveling between stars with our fragile bodies.
Right. Interstellar travel for DNA-based life like us is incredibly difficult. The distances, the radiation.
He mentions the Breakthrough Starshot Initiative, this ambitious plan to send tiny spacecraft propelled by lasers to explore other star systems.
Nanocraft. It's a fascinating concept, a potential first step, even if it's robotic probes initially.
It sounds like pure science fiction, but it's a real thing.
People are working on it. It shows that big thinking about our long-term future.
And he shares this brief experience of zero-gravity flight, just 4 minutes. But he said it was incredible and he wished it could have gone on forever.
That taste of weightlessness, the dream of space.
It really brings home that fundamental human desire to experience the wonders of space firsthand. It's like dreaming of flying and then actually getting to float for a little while.
That sense of wonder is a powerful driver for exploration.
He briefly touches on the search for life on other planets, on Mars, and those exoplanets in the Goldilocks zones.
The habitable zones, yeah,
Yeah.
where liquid water could exist.
Not too hot, not too cold, just right for liquid water. Finding life out there would be a game changer, wouldn't it?
Oh, completely. Probably the biggest discovery in human history.
It would completely shift our understanding of our place in the universe. It would be like finally finding out you have cousins you never knew about, only they live on a different planet.
Exactly. Are we alone? It's one of the fundamental questions.
Finally, he talks about artificial intelligence and genetic engineering.
Two massive areas shaping the future.
He acknowledges the rapid progress in AI and quantum computing, with all the amazing potential for good.
Curing diseases, solving climate change, ending poverty. Huge potential benefits.
But also the potential risks. Need to be careful there.
Absolutely. Ensuring AI aligns with human values, avoiding unforeseen consequences. Big challenges.
And he brings up CRISPR, this technology for precisely editing DNA,
Gene editing, yeah.
which raises some serious ethical questions,
Sure.
especially about editing the human germline.
Huge ethical debates. Designer babies. Enhancing humans. Where do we draw the line?
He even suggests that human genetic engineering is likely to happen within the next 1,000 years. It's a long time, but still, it's a pretty mind-blowing thought.
It seems almost inevitable given the pace of technology, but the societal implications are enormous.
He concludes by emphasizing the responsibility of scientists to inform the public and advise leaders on critical issues,
Like nuclear weapons, climate change.
like nuclear weapons and climate change. He expresses real concern about the denial of man-made climate change and the potential for irreversible warming.
It's a stark warning. The need for action based on scientific consensus is urgent.
It's a serious warning, and one we should all pay attention to.
Definitely. Scientists have a role to play in communicating that urgency.
But he ends on a somewhat hopeful note, anticipating increasing complexity in both biology and technology,
Evolution continuing, both biological and electronic.
and stressing the importance of looking outward for solutions and for unity.
Right. That cosmic perspective again, perhaps, helping us see our shared challenges and potential.
It's a reminder that even with all the challenges, there's still potential for progress and a shared future.
A cautiously optimistic outlook, maybe? Recognizing the complexity, but also the potential.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, it's clear that even without having all the answers, just grappling with these big questions expands our understanding
Mm-hmm. Stretches the mind.
and maybe even makes us see things a little differently. It reminds you just how vast and mysterious the universe is and how incredible it is that we even have the capacity to ask these questions in the first place.
It's truly remarkable, the human drive to understand.
We really encourage you to keep thinking about these ideas, to stay curious, and to explore more from reliable sources.
Keep asking those big questions.
And maybe ponder this. As we continue to unlock the secrets of the universe, will the questions themselves evolve in ways we can't even imagine right now?
Ooh, interesting thought. What will the next big questions be?
It's something to think about, isn't it?